Join me as I dive into the story of Joshua, the brave leader of the Promised Land, and see if I can uncover what really happened to him. Joshua is one of the most important figures in the Bible, and his story is one of courage, faith, and leadership. As the successor of Moses, Joshua was tasked with leading the Israelites into the Promised Land, a mission that would require great bravery and trust in God. Leading the Israelites into battle was just one of the major challenges Joshua faced. He had to deal with the fear and doubt of his people, who had spent years in the wilderness and were not sure if they were ready to take on the mighty nations that inhabited the Promised Land. Joshua also had to contend with the temptation of idolatry, which had plagued the Israelites throughout their journey. Additionally, he had to navigate the complexities of military strategy and tactics, as well as the internal conflicts that arose within his own people. And on top of all this, Joshua had to maintain his faith and trust in God, even when things seemed impossible. Joshua's leadership was put to the test time and time again, as he faced opposition from both within and outside his camp. He had to deal with the rebellious tribes of Reuben and Gad, who were more interested in their own wealth and security than in following God's plan. He also had to confront the powerful kings of the surrounding nations, who saw the Israelites as a threat to their own power and way of life. Despite these challenges, Joshua remained steadfast in his commitment to God and his people. As Joshua faced these challenges, he knew that he couldn't do it alone. He needed the guidance and wisdom of God, and he needed the support and loyalty of his people. Throughout his journey, Joshua demonstrated a deep understanding of God's character and plan, and he was willing to obey him even when it seemed impossible. The fall of Jericho is one of the most famous stories in the Bible, and it's a testament to Joshua's faith and leadership. When Joshua arrived at Jericho, he was faced with a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. The city was heavily fortified, with walls that seemed impenetrable. But Joshua didn't let that stop him. He listened to God's instructions, and he obeyed them, even when they seemed strange and foolish. As a result, the walls of Jericho came tumbling down, and the city was conquered. The fall of Jericho was just the beginning of Joshua's conquest of the Promised Land. He went on to defeat the kings of Hazor, Lachish, and other cities, establishing a foothold in the land that would last for generations. These victories were not just military triumphs, but spiritual ones as well. They demonstrated God's power and faithfulness, and they showed the Israelites that they were capable of achieving great things when they trusted in Him. Joshua's military campaigns were not just about conquering territories, but about establishing a new way of life for the Israelites. He knew that the land was given to them by God, and that they were to live according to God's laws and commandments. Joshua's victories marked the beginning of a new era in Israel's history, one in which they would live in harmony with God and with each other. One of the most pivotal moments in Joshua's story is when he renews the covenant with God and the Israelites. This was a turning point in their history, as it marked a fresh commitment to following God's ways and living according to His commands. Joshua's leadership was instrumental in this moment, as he called the people to repentance and renewed their vows to God. Joshua's leadership was not just about conquest and victory, but about creating a sense of community and belonging among the Israelites. He knew that they were not just a group of individuals, but a people united by their faith in God and their commitment to each other. Joshua's covenant renewal ceremony was a powerful symbol of this unity, as the Israelites came together to reaffirm their commitment to God and to each other. Joshua's legacy is one of faith, courage, and leadership. He showed the Israelites that they could achieve great things when they trusted in God, and he demonstrated what it means to live a life of obedience and surrender to Him. Even today, Joshua's story inspires us to be brave, to trust in God, and to live according to His ways. Joshua is a key biblical figure and leader who played a crucial role in the conquest of the Promised Land. He's the one who led the Israelites into the land that God had promised them, and his story is a fascinating one that's full of challenges, triumphs, and lessons for us today. One of the major challenges Joshua faced was leading the Israelites into battle. Can you imagine having to coordinate an entire army, especially one that's been wandering in the desert for 40 years? It's no easy feat, and Joshua had to be brave, strategic, and trusting in God's power to succeed. Another challenge was maintaining the Israelites' faith amidst adversity. The Israelites were prone to complaining and losing faith, and Joshua had to constantly remind them of God's presence and power in their lives. Joshua also faced opposition from the surrounding nations, who were not happy about the Israelites' arrival in the Promised Land. He had to deal with the logistics of conquering a new land, which included dividing the land among the tribes, setting up a system of government, and establishing a new way of life. On top of that, Joshua had to navigate the complex relationships between the different tribes and factions within the Israelites, making sure everyone was working together towards a common goal. In addition to these external challenges, Joshua also had to contend with his own emotions and doubts. Imagine being in his shoes, facing the enormous task of leading an entire nation into a new land, and having to rely on God's guidance and power every step of the way. It's a daunting task, and Joshua had to be incredibly brave and trusting to succeed. Despite these challenges, Joshua remained committed to God and the Israelites, and his leadership was marked by a series of remarkable victories. One of the most famous of these is the fall of Jericho, which was a powerful and fortified city that seemed impregnable. But with God's help, the Israelites were able to conquer the city, and it marked a major turning point in their journey. The fall of Jericho was significant not just because of its military importance, but also because of its spiritual significance. It was a powerful demonstration of God's power and presence in the Israelites' lives, and it marked a new era of cooperation and faith between God and the Israelites. The other victories that followed, such as the defeat of the Amorites and the Jebusites, further solidified Joshua's leadership and the Israelites' confidence in God. One of the pivotal moments in Joshua's leadership came when he renewed the covenant with God and the Israelites. This was a powerful moment of commitment and rededication, where Joshua reaffirmed the Israelites' covenant with God and reminded them of their responsibilities and obligations to Him. It was a key turning point in their journey, and it marked a new era of faithfulness and obedience to God. Joshua's leadership was marked by his commitment to God and the Israelites, and his covenant renewal was a powerful demonstration of this commitment. He was a true leader, who put the needs of his people before his own, and who was willing to take risks and face challenges head-on in order to fulfill God's plan. Joshua's legacy and impact on the Israelites cannot be overstated. He played a crucial role in shaping their future in the Promised Land, and his leadership had a lasting impact on their faith and identity. Even today, Joshua remains an inspiration to millions of people around the world, a testament to the power of faith, courage, and leadership. So what do you think about Joshua's leadership and legacy? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out another video on biblical figures.